In this position, the white rook checks the king by moving to g5. Black responds by moving the king to f4, taking a pawn. That really isn't that much of a problem. If you look, the white pawn only has 2 more squares to go before it turns into a queen, and the other white pawn has a few more squares to go before it becomes a queen. Now the black pawn could also become a queen as well. So the question is, what is the best move for black? And what I want you to think about is, can the white pawn promote quicker than the black pawn? And if so, how? And are there any pieces on black's side that are undefended, that could prevent white from being able to queen? If you can think of all of those different things, you might be able to figure out the correct answer to this puzzle. The correct answer to this puzzle is by moving the rook here to g6, attacking the black knight on c6, which is protecting the pawn from being able to promote. Now, there's a lot of things to think about here, but let's take a look at this. If the rook starts to attack the knight, then the knight may want to move out of the way. And the best move for knight would be move to e7 to attack the rook. Now, the best position here for the rook would be to put the king in check, trying to move it away from that pawn. If the king moves out of the way, for instance, let's say to here, then white can go ahead and get ready to promote that piece to being a queen, and there's nothing that black can do to stop it. If, let's say, the knight went to a7, then white could move the bishop here, preventing the black pawn from advancing. And if the pawn did advance, there really wouldn't be much of a problem trading off pieces, because then eventually the pawn would just be able to march right up the side of the board and promote. And if the knight went over to protect it, then the other pawn would be able to march up the side of the board. But an even better move than that would be to just go ahead and capture the knight at a7. And if the pawn threatened to go all the way down to the end, then the white knight could just move to f2. If the king came down to try to protect the piece right there, then the bishop could move to e1, and there's no way that the black king can get in. The black king could try to capture the rook, but eventually the pawn is going to turn into a queen, and checkmate is soon to come. Of course, you'd want to protect your knight, or protect your rook from the king, so first you'd want to move the king out of the way, and then when the knight came back, then you could move the queen and have even more power against the queen, or against the king, to checkmate.